Officials with the Grove Chamber of Commerce talk about the impact of a new back-to-work incentive for Oklahoma workers.
New images show damage to the Champlain Towers South condo building, which partially collapsed. Photos taken just hours before the floors started pancaking. I'm Phil Keating at Surfside with the story and details straight ahead.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Aubie. This week marks the beginning of a program aimed at getting Oklahomans back to work. It's a one-time $1,200 state payment to people who return to work at least 32 hours for 6 weeks. KOAM's Bronte Sarosky caught up with the Grove, Oklahoma Chamber of Commerce to learn about the potential impact.
Oklahomans are getting back to work. Extra incentive from the state is trying to help with that. Oklahoma is offering residents a one-time cash incentive to rejoin the workforce. Grove's Area Chamber of Commerce says the area could use more workers coming out of the pandemic.
Back in April, we held a job fair here, and we had over 30 employers there, looking to hire. We only had 50 some odd people show up looking for jobs. And I know several of those that attended got jobs right there on the spot. That shows you how much of a need there is for workforce, not only here in Grove, but all of northeastern Oklahoma.
A local store owner says lack of a workforce is putting a strain on local restaurants.
It's time for folks to go back to work. That has put the most stress on the restaurants and some other places of business. They've had to put signs on their door closed due to no staff, which is sad for the business owner and everyone in the community.
It's affecting tourism too, with many hotels understaffed.
I know with a lot of our hotels and our resorts, they're doing a lot more situations where you have multiple nights required as part of a minimum stay. So because of their difficulties with housekeeping and such. And so the same thing is not only with our service industries, but also with our aerospace companies and different industries.
With low volume of workers, local businesses will need to find new ways to operate until they can grow their staff.
Just important every day, every weekend, and it's sad that folks have struggled with less employees.
In Grove, Bronte Sarosky, KOAM News.
Stipend for this program will go to the first 20,000 Oklahomans returning to work for 6 weeks straight. State plans to begin distribution on July 12th. Doug Hattie joining us now. Not too hot today, it seemed.
No, yeah, but humid again, and at least we got more sunshine today. Our thunderstorms a lot more isolated than what we've had over the past couple days. A lot of people did get rain. We just didn't have widespread rain. 87 for a high, average high is 89, so a little bit shy. But you can see these storms, not as widespread as what we've seen, but they're still out there. We got these spotty little thunderstorms. If you get stuck underneath one of them, it'll pour on you for about 5 or 10 minutes. But besides that, most of us are dry, and I think we look pretty good for a good chunk of the overnight hours. And then it changes once again. We'll talk about that here in a bit.
All right, Doug, thank you. 2 people are dead after a crash on Highway 69 in Kansas. Happened about 12 miles south of Fort Scott. Police say a car crossed the center line, hit another car head on. The drivers of both vehicles died. They were 50-year-old David Ross from Fort Scott and 63-year-old George Danley from Mapleton. Officials have charged a second suspect in connection with the death of a Pea Ridge, Arkansas police officer. 22-year-old Shauna Cash is being charged with a number of crimes, including capital murder, criminal mischief, and aggravated assault. The other suspect, 18-year-old Elijah Andanzola, is also charged with capital murder in connection with the death of Officer Kevin Apple. Authorities say the two ran over Apple with a car. The Edna mattress factory in Edna, Kansas right there is destroyed after a morning fire. Fire crews responded to calls about the fire shortly after 9:30 this morning. Flames were extinguished, but not before the factory building was destroyed. The nearby mattress retail store does not appear to be damaged, however.
Our main goal was to protect the exposure of the building next to it. So we started putting water on it, cool it off. You could tell it was already steaming, getting ready. Probably a few minutes away from actually catching on fire itself.
Officials say thankfully no one was hurt in this fire. Jasper County Health Department reports another COVID-19 death. This time it was a woman in her 60s. This latest death brings the county's total to 160. Just as vaccinated Americans are dropping those masks, the U.S. and the world are seeing an uptick in COVID Delta strain infections, prompting health officials to say, not so fast, recommending folks put those masks on again. Fox News senior correspondent Mike Tobin has this story.
With July 4th weekend approaching, health officials are concerned about the highly contagious COVID Delta variant as it rapidly spreads across the world, accounting for roughly 20% of new cases in the U.S. This prompting a new wave of lockdowns in cities telling folks to mask up again.
Because this virus is so transmissible, even a small chance of transmitting to someone can lead to sporadic and regional outbreaks.
The Delta variant is expected to be the dominant strain by fall, and as of now, only 46% or 153 million Americans are fully vaccinated, according to the CDC. Numbers still shy of President Biden's goal of getting shots into the arms of 70% of American adults by the 4th. But local health officials continue to encourage vaccination, particularly in communities with low vaccination rates, saying it's the best way to keep everyone protected.
If people have delayed getting vaccination, this is the time to do it. It would make a huge difference and protect them against the Delta and all other variants.
And we may see a resurgence in masks. On Monday, the World Health Organization urged everyone, including those vaccinated, to continue wearing face coverings indoors. Los Angeles County officials following suit, strongly recommending the safety measure, even though more than 67% of residents over 16 have had at least one shot. To help curb the Delta variant on a global scale, the U.S. is sending millions of doses of the COVID vaccine to low-income countries. In Chicago, Mike Tobin, Fox News.
Newly released images show damage to a Miami area condo building just hours before it partially collapsed. This comes as rescue crews continue to search the debris for any survivors, and there are several survivors still, or those missing anyway. Fox News correspondent Phil Keating has more now from Surfside.
A massive search and rescue operation now in its 6th day here in Surfside, Florida. Today we're hearing more from the first few minutes after that condo building partially collapsed.
Our firefighters going door to door, getting everybody out. We do have people on the balcony shouting that they are trapped inside of their apartment.
Crews here continue to work around the clock, carefully combing through piles of steel and concrete.
Breaks, they're monitored medically, and just to make sure that they can get back safely on the mound, because it is such painstaking, grueling work.
We're also learning more about the tower's condition ahead of its collapse. The building was about to begin $15 million worth of renovations. 2 days before the collapse, a commercial pool contractor visited the building to make a bid. He shared these photos with the Miami Herald, noting cracks in the concrete, a wet floor, and exposed and corroded rebar in the pool equipment room. A spokesperson for the condo association says, quote, the board retained experts and trusted experts, and at no time were they told of imminent threat of danger or collapse. Just north of Champlain Tower South is the condo sister building, built around the same time by the same developer. Engineers conducted a thorough safety review of that building today, though most residents say they are staying put.
So I think once we get 3 or 4 engineers, consultants all agreeing that the building is safe, then we'll stay.
President Biden and the First Lady announcing today that on Thursday, in 2 days, they will fly here to Surfside to see this disaster for themselves. In Surfside, Florida, Phil Keating, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 and Fox 14 takes this time now to honor another four-state hero. Derek Forrest served in the U.S. Army, spending time in Iraq and Afghanistan. Native of Lamar, Missouri, Forrest earned several awards, including the Bronze Star, also Air Medal. We are proud to thank and salute Captain Derek Forrest. He's tonight's four-state hero. Doug Caddy's up next with a complete look at the forecast. And a bit later, a Webb City softball standout adding to her impressive high school resume. Gonna have that story, of course, in sports.
Well, it definitely turned out to be another warm, very humid day for us today, and we have had these spotty, isolated thunderstorms popping up mainly during the afternoon. A good chunk of us have stayed dry, but if you get stuck underneath one of these little storms, it will really rain on you for about 10, maybe 15 minutes, but you can see they're very spotty, and they're going to stay very spotty as we go through the rest of the overnight hours tonight until late tonight. But most of us are dry. A couple little spotty guys A little cluster out toward Iola, and that's a little stronger storm, so it is dumping some pretty good rain. But if you look for the rest of Kansas, good. Let's go into Oklahoma, good. Let's go east. Arkansas is pretty good, and most of Missouri until you get Lamar. Up towards Stockton Lake, we have a few spotty little guys. So most of us have stayed dry today, and I don't expect to see much in the way of rainfall, at least over about the next 6 or 7 hours, and then we'll start to see some additional changes. Let's go through the overnight hours. Here's midnight, still very spotty little showers. And then late tonight, you can see showers and thunderstorms increase, especially on northwestern counties. Here's 6 a.m., thunderstorms increasing through the morning hours. So tomorrow is going to be much more widespread than what we have seen today. Here's our time lapse for you. You can see those cumulus clouds really popping up. This is Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo, just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Still warm, most of us upper 70s to near 80 degrees. Nice shot, 7th and range line. Currently, we're at 80. Still feels like 85. Relative humidity is up there at 81%. So very hit and miss, scattered thunderstorms the rest of the night. Thunderstorms increase during the morning hours. So here's about 10:30 in the morning. We'll get scattered thunderstorms, and then you can see they really pop up again during the afternoon. And then these continue as we go into the evening hours. So I think tomorrow about 70 to 80% of us will pick up rain, which is why I'm going 70 to 80% chance. Scattered showers and thunderstorms really anytime during the day. South winds at about 5 to 10. Tomorrow night, we get a break until late tomorrow night. Thunderstorms start popping up. Thursday is our key day. See how the winds start switching to the north in our northern counties. So this is Thursday morning. We're still going to get thunderstorms pretty widespread, but a cold front is going to drag through. As it drags through, it cuts all this off, and we get 4 or 5 days that we don't have any rain. And we need a break because we've had a lot of rain. A lot of areas have picked up 5 to 10, upwards of 12 inches of rain over the past 4 days, and we could see an additional 1, 2, 3 inches of rain as we go into the next couple days. So just a couple more days, pretty widespread rain. Wednesday into Thursday. Friday looks great. Saturday looks great. The 4th looks great. Pretty good temperatures, and then we start to heat back up once again by the middle of next week.
Might as well title the book Scattered Thunderstorms.
Yeah, you know, very typical summer-like pattern here.
Yeah.
You know, hot, humid, afternoon pop-up storms.
Scattered thunderstorms, yep. All right, so we'll see you in a little bit. Thank you so much as always. Coming up, President Biden visiting the Heartland.
President Biden hits the road, making the case for the bipartisan infrastructure deal. I'm Lauren Blanchard in Washington. More on his selling points and why the deal still may not happen. Coming up.
United is buying more planes. Needs people to run them. The airline says it plans to take on 25,000 more union employees by 2026. This after its largest ever order for 270 Boeing and Airbus jets. United says available positions are going to include contact center, ramp and customer service agents, dispatchers, flight attendants, pilots, and technicians. The whole shebang. President hit the road today as he continues to try to sell a massive infrastructure package to the American people. Back in D.C., the proposal still needs support from lawmakers, and some do have their concerns. Fox News correspondent Lauren Blanchard has more from Washington.
That's why we have to act.
President Biden traveled to La Crosse, Wisconsin Tuesday. He says a nearly $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure framework deal over 5 years will create millions of jobs.
Largely will be those for blue-collar workers. This is the answer for good-paying jobs.
The proposed legislation would help fix roads, bridges, airports, and pipes, strengthen electrical grids, provide more electrical vehicle charging stations, improve broadband access, and clean up water supplies.
A generational investment to modernize our infrastructure.
The White House says the Badger State alone has nearly 200 bridges and over 1,900 miles of highway in need of repair.
And this deal would provide for it for everyone.
Last Thursday, a bipartisan group of senators came to an agreement with the White House, but the deal was almost blown up when the president said he wanted a separate bill passed alongside through reconciliation, which would include Democratic priorities.
He wants both bills, as he said, and he's going to campaign for both bills.
Progressives say the bill is too small. Even so, senior members of the White House have been working to calm their fears. If all 50 Democratic senators are on board, at least 10 Republicans are needed to pass the bill. Minority Leader Mitch McConnell has not signaled if he supports the bill yet. However, he was satisfied the president unlinked the infrastructure bill and the separate reconciliation bill, even as Speaker Nancy Pelosi says she still wants them both.
President Biden will take a pause from his infrastructure push on Thursday. He's traveling to Miami to meet with first responders 1 week after the deadly condo collapse. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
Just ahead, the High Court giving a ruling on transgender bathroom policies.
The LGBT community seeing major victories at the local and national level. I'm Kevin Cork in Washington with more on the new legal battles, the victories indeed, that are promoting equality. That's just ahead.
The deadline to apply for federal student aid is looming. Your FAFSA is due tomorrow. If you need financial help for the 2020 through 2021 academic year, it means students can still get a Pell Grant for the past year. You still have time if you need aid for this coming academic year. That deadline is June 30th of 2022. IRS is out with a list of the top scams for 2021. The leading scam is pandemic related. The agency says there's been a rise in efforts to steal stimulus payments and warned taxpayers to delete any suspicious text messages or emails inquiring about bank account information. IRS says be wary of suspicious phone calls too. Mailbox theft is another scheme high on the list this year, followed by fraudulent unemployment claims. Series of legal moves are helping to squash discrimination that is, from facing the LGBTQ community. Fox News correspondent Kevin Cork has more on the new decisions made at the Supreme Court and beyond.
June marks Pride Month for members of the LGBTQ community. And as it comes to an end, several new legal ventures at the local and national level are helping to promote equality.
Trans people don't present a threat to anybody. If you think we do, that's your problem.
The Supreme Court deciding Monday to strike down a Virginia school board's request to reinstate its ban on transgender bathrooms. That case actually started back in the lower courts some 6 years ago when Gloucester High School student Gavin Grimm was told he needed to use the restroom corresponding to his gender at birth, which was female. Lower courts ruled in favor of Grimm, saying forcing him to use the women's bathroom would be disruptive to his education, causing the school board to appeal to the Supreme Court, where the justices rejected the appeal, leaving the lower court ruling in place, calling the bathroom ban unconstitutional.
A win in Virginia is a win everywhere.
Meanwhile, over in California, state-funded travel is now banned to Arkansas, Florida, Montana, North Dakota, and West Virginia over those states' anti-LGBTQ laws. Back in 2016, the Golden State also banned travel to 12 other states for their discriminatory stances, including Alabama, North Carolina, and Texas.
The states are a part of a recent dangerous wave of discriminatory new bills signed into law.
LGBTQ advocates say a lot more still needs to be done, including passing the Equality Act. They're calling on the Biden administration to do just that. In Washington, I'm Kevin Cork, Fox News.
Next, going to learn how your kid's drawing could end up paying for a vacation, a $10,000 vacation. If your child draws a good picture of the pyramids, well, you have a chance to go to Egypt. Travelocity announced it's giving away $10,000 vacations to 5 lucky winners. Have your child draw a picture of wherever they'd like to go, submit it to Travelocity, and then hope for the best. A team of experts are going to pick 5 winners and give them a one-of-a-kind vacation valued at $10,000. You can head to TravelocityTripsByKids.com. TravelocityTripsByKids.com to enter your child's drawing until Friday, July 9th. Now, if you are just one of the lucky ones, don't worry. First 2,000 people who enter get a coupon to use on the Travelocity app. So if you have a good artist at home, a good young artist, worth a try, right? 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports. Coming away, going to learn some tips to make this 4th of July a little less stressful for our four-legged friends. Also, Walmart's launching its own brand of insulin for diabetes patients. 4th of July is this weekend, which means fireworks are going to be going off across the area to celebrate our nation's independence. But those loud noises can be problematic for our pets. Local pet trainer has a solution, though. It's called counter conditioning, a way to get your pets prepared for the boom without the fear. It involves exposing the pets to the sound of fireworks through a recording and offering them treats. But you have to start them out young.
So the importance of doing this and stuff is to make your dog feel comfortable. Too many times and stuff you'll hear stories where dogs were left out in the yard and then dogs end up getting hurt or worse because they got scared of fireworks. If you can't train the dog to, not be scared of the fireworks, then they need to be inside in a safe environment.
Make sure you offer a very special treat. If the training doesn't work, you don't want the dog to associate the scary noise with their normal food. Fort Scott, Kansas nonprofit today broke ground on a new park. The Lowell Milken Center for Unsung Heroes is creating the new Unsung Heroes Park. Officials say it's going to be the first park in the world that will also operate as an Unsung Hero Museum, honoring 6 historical figures. They also hope it's going to be popular with tourists to help boost Fort Scott's economy.
First of all, there isn't another Unsung Hero Museum in the world. We are the only one. And you have to come here to Lowell Milken Center to know how that happened.
Construction is expected to be completed in August. The park is going to be near the Lowell Milken Center at the intersection of East Wall Street and South Main Street. If you're looking for some live music in the 4 states, Symphonic Winds is hosting a concert on Thursday. The group is a regional adult wind band created back in 2017. They haven't done a live concert since before the pandemic, so needless to say, the group is excited to get back out on stage.
For me personally, it's just enjoyable. It's a time where you can get together with your friends, one. So it's very social for us, but then we get right down to our business of making music, and it's at a much higher level than probably most of us have had experienced even in college.
The concert will be at the Stark Performing Arts Center in Carl Junction on Thursday at 7 p.m. Well, Walmart is launching its own brand of insulin for diabetes patients. Today, the retail giant announced its Rely On brand of insulin products, which include analog insulin vials and flex pens for administering the doses. The vials will cost $72, while the flex pens will cost around $85. Walmart says that's between 58% to 75% less than the cost of other brands. The Rely On brands will be available this week at Walmart pharmacies. They launch in Sam's Club pharmacies, by the way, next month. A new approved Alzheimer's drug may get restricted access for Medicare patients because of its $56,000 a year cost for treatments. The FDA recently approved Aduhelm, a treatment for Alzheimer's disease. Biogen is the maker of the drug, but concerns are being raised about who or how many could get treatment under Medicare because of its high costs, and that could mean restricted Medicare access. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services is reviewing Aduhelm's approval, and Health and Human Services will have to determine reimbursement rates. Want to lower your blood pressure? Well, maybe your doctor should advise French fries? I don't know about this story, but let's look it over, okay? Researchers at Purdue University say eating more potatoes works better for blood pressure than taking certain supplements. The researchers say increasing dietary potassium from foods like baked and boiled potatoes helps reduce sodium retention and drops systolic blood pressure. And French fries, minus the extra salt and ketchup, are okay too, so say officials. Parts of the Pacific Northwest are finally getting some relief from the excessive heat seen over the last few days. The heat wave making things dangerous for residents and even garnering some international attention. Fox News correspondent Dan Springer has the latest now from Seattle.
The Pacific Northwest is typically known for cooler, milder weather in the summer, but that's not the case this week, with the region seeing triple-digit temperatures during a heat wave that's lasted several days.
It's been crazy. Our AC is doing its best to stay caught up.
Meteorologists say a high-pressure system is to blame for a patch of hot air sitting over the region. Seattle set an all-time high of 108 on Monday. Portland also breaking a record with a high of 115 degrees. People have been advised to stay inside as much as possible, but in an area where air conditioning is not a given, others sought out the shade to beat the heat.
No way, it's too hot. We had to escape.
First responders say they're seeing a spike in heat-related calls, and with all that heavy equipment, they're taking precautions of their own to keep their people safe.
The main thing that we're trying to do is just keep everyone hydrated. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate.
Both cities have opened up cooling centers to help people get some relief. The situation's so dangerous it's drawing the attention of the UN, which raised the alarm about the unusually high heat in the U.S. and parts of Canada.
These very high temperatures are concentrated over one particular area. It's almost like a pressure cooker effect. You know, you've got very, very, very high heat.
Along the Pacific coast, some cool air coming in off the ocean is finally giving us a break. The high today only about 90 degrees here in Seattle, but that extreme heat is moving inland. The high temperature today in Boise, 105 degrees. In Seattle, Dan Springer, Fox News.
A bit later, a look at the increasing crime rates across the U.S. and the blame game behind those rates.
Of course, very warm, very humid for us once again today. It's summertime. That is what we are supposed to see, but we could use a little break from the rain. Of course, we always need the rain in the summer. We don't want to dry out. We just don't want 10 inches in 3 days, kind of like most of us have been seeing. A lot spottier for us today. I'd say about 30% of us have gotten some rain, but most of Joplin, Pittsburgh, Miami have stayed dry throughout the day. But we still have some spotty little thunderstorms out there. You can see the one just to the north of Iola. So this is lifting north out of the region. Besides that, rest of southeastern Kansas looks pretty good. Oklahoma is dry. There's a couple little spotty guys popping up near Cassville and to the south of Springfield. And then most of the rest of Missouri is pretty dry. We are going to have some hit and miss little storms over the next few hours, and then thunderstorm chances will increase again late tonight and then into the morning hours. But most of the night looks dry. Let's go through time. Let's go into the morning hours. Scattered showers, scattered thunderstorms starting to increase again as we head into the morning hours. Mainly late morning, I think, is when things will really start to get going. But they're going to really blow up on us by the time we head into late morning and then early afternoon. Here's about the noon hour. But at least fairly quiet right now. Looks pretty good. Nice shot. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course. Indigo just outside of Seneca, Missouri. It is still warm. Upper 70s to near 80 across the region. In Joplin, sitting at 80. Humidity is at 81%. We could drop the humidity a little bit too. That would make it feel a little bit better, and that humidity will start to go down as we head into the weekend. All right, let's continue on with tomorrow. Scattered thunderstorms, a lot more widespread than what we are seeing today. I'd say about 3/4 of the viewing area will pick up some form of rain tomorrow. 70 to start, 80 by noon, high temp of 85, south winds 5 to 10. Scattered, some strong storms continue tomorrow evening. We'll get a little bit of a break tomorrow night, and then late tomorrow night, showers and thunderstorms pop up again. And on Thursday, they're going to be pretty widespread as well. The change, though, on Thursday, look how the winds are switching out of the north. This is a cold front that sweeps through. And what that front's going to do is take all the rain and push it out of here by the time we head into Thursday night and Friday, which is good news. But until that point in time, a lot of areas are going to get some pretty good amounts of rain. I think an additional 1, 2, maybe 3 inches, very possible across the entire viewing area. We do see some changes down the road. System slides through the Great Lakes, takes all this rain out of here. Pretty good temperatures. But then as we head into early next week, look at the heat building back out west, and we get back into the rain, but the heat and the humidity will return by the middle of next week. But at least the holiday weekend looks pretty good. 85 tomorrow, 84 on Thursday. A little cooler Friday and Saturday on the 4th of July. Not bad, 86, partly sunny skies.
You walk out in the grass, and if it's not flooded, you definitely hear that squish, squish,
yeah.
squish.
I need to mow really bad. It's just too wet.
It's too wet.
Yeah.
All right, Doug, thank you. Coming up in sports, former Crowder College pitcher is about to get his shot in the bigs, the major leagues. Also, Webb City's Hayden Berry continuing to rack up awards for senior year season on the softball diamond. Jacob Leonard has a story next.
We're here to help. Webb City's Hayden Berry was a first-team All-State player and the COC Player of the Year her senior season. Although her high school career ended back in November, she's still racking up awards for her senior season as she prepares to begin her college career at Central Missouri. Webb City's Hayden Berry earned yet another award on Monday night for her senior year on the softball field.
Jenny Finch announced my name. I thought that was awesome.
The Southwest Missouri Softball Player of the Year is Hayden Berry of Webb City High School.
She's always been a good role model in my life, and I've watched her since I was little. So I follow her, and she's just a big inspiration to girls' sports.
Nothing but proud of her. She's, very deserving, and couldn't happen to a better person.
Berry was named the USA Today Southwest Missouri Player of the Year on Monday. That award comes after being named the Springfield Sports Commission Player of the Year last week.
Hayden's a coach's dream. I mean, she does so much more than just what she does on the diamond. She's a great leader. She's a great teammate. Obviously, her talents show in her play, but she has so many other good characteristics that really define her.
The two-time COC Player of the Year is now one of the most decorated players in Webb City softball history. Now, she'll put it behind her and begin her college career at Central Missouri this fall.
I can't wait to put on a Jenny's uniform. It's going to be awesome playing in the MIAA. I'm going to a program that I know there's a lot of competitiveness, and it's just kind of my nature. I've always been there to compete, so it's going to be really good. I mean, the girls are awesome, and I'm going to have so much fun there.
Berry was a four-time All-Conference player for Webb City, a two-time first-team All-State selection, and a three-time first-team All-District player. A former Crowder College standout, Aaron Ashby, is getting his shot in the major leagues. Ashby is set to be called up by the Milwaukee Brewers, make his major league debut tomorrow against the Cubs. At the AAA level this season, he's got 56 strikeouts and just 38 innings pitched. The Brewers took Ashby in the fourth round of the draft in 2018 after he was a first-team All-American his sophomore season at Crowder. The Kansas City Royals are on the road tonight for Game 2 of their series against the Red Sox. Last night, the two teams combined for 7 home runs in Game 1, with the Royals falling 6-5. Tonight, plenty of scoring again. Kansas City, though, down 7-6 in the top of the ninth. Ryan O'Hearn is 3 for 4 with a home run and 3 RBIs. After this one, Game 3 of the 4-game series, tomorrow evening at 6:10. In the National League, Game 2 for the Cardinals and Diamondbacks in St. Louis. That game is in the top of the 7th. Cards lead at 3-1. Nolan Arenado is 2 for 2 in the game for St. Louis with a home run and a pair of RBIs. And that's it for sports. We're back with more news after the break.
Violence in major U.S. cities continues to worsen. This comes as police in New York City are adding extra patrols and blockades in Midtown Manhattan to try to keep tourists from being scared off after the shooting of a bystander Sunday. Fox News correspondent Aja Husney is in New York with the details.
A 21-year-old Marine is wheeled away on a stretcher after he's shot in the back in broad daylight while visiting Times Square with his family. The incident just the latest in a string of violent crime in the Big Apple. This weekend alone, a total of 23 people were shot in 19 shootings. New York City's Mayor Bill de Blasio announcing he'll send in more officers to the area to keep tourists safe.
The bottom line is we are going to flood the zone in Times Square with additional officers to make sure this situation is resolved once and for all.
In Chicago, 74 people were hurt in 46 shootings over the weekend, as Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez dismisses concerns about crime spikes in big cities.
I also want to make sure that this hysteria, that this doesn't drive a hysteria and that we look at these numbers in context.
Her comments come as President Biden tells states and cities to use money from the $350 billion American Rescue Plan for more police and to stop the flow of illegal guns.
But at the time, that was sold as these local police departments might have a pandemic-related budget shortfall, not we need to keep cops on the beat because there's a crime wave.
I think that any local department would argue that keeping cops on the beat to keep communities safe when they had to, because of budget shortfalls, fire police is something that helped them address crime in their local communities.
Meanwhile, Democrats and Republicans are arguing over who's at fault.
When we were in Congress last year trying to pass an emergency relief plan for cities that were cash-strapped and laying off police and firefighters, it was the Republicans who objected to it. But the truth is, they defunded the police.
That is the most ridiculous thing I've heard all year long. What we've seen is a 40% increase in violent crime in major cities because the Democrats have been defunding the police for the last year.
And back here in New York City, police officers flooded the Times Square area Sunday night. We're told there are more than 100 uniformed officers patrolling right now. In New York, Aisha Hasnik, Fox News.
Next, going to get a preview of a Fox TMZ special looking at the possibility of UFOs. An all-new Fox special looks to get to the bottom of what's up there as a new Pentagon report about UFOs is released and TMZ investigates. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin with a preview.
There's no wings, there's no propellers, there's no jet engine.
TMZ investigates UFOs, the Pentagon proof, brings never-before-seen footage, interviews with key players, and analysis of the government's response, including the first-time-ever declassified report.
These sightings have been going on since 1947 in a real serious way, yet it wasn't taken seriously really until a year or two ago.
We have wreckage, we have craft.
You're going to hear from pilots who have seen these things every day. You're going to hear from former Pentagon officials who have seen reports that have been doctored and covered up. You're going to hear from a Harvard scientist who has a very strong opinion about this. And we are not going to tell you, these are aliens, that it's something absolutely from another solar system. But that possibility is absolutely left open.
Do those possibilities come up? Alien, extraterrestrial, is that mentioned? Are we alone? Do you talk about that?
It is mentioned by everyone we spoke with.
What questions would you want answered next after what you found out?
I think the big thing is we know what it isn't, but we have no idea what it is. If you believe that we are not the center of the universe and that maybe there is other intelligent life beyond our solar system, and we can go that way, how can you say that another form of intelligent life can't go that way?
It wants to be seen.
Tune in for TMZ Investigates Tuesday right here on Fox. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
All I have to say is that if the X-Files show was still around, they shouldn't have canceled that show. If the X-Files show was still around, we would have had explanations by now. That's all I'm saying. It's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. Going to leave you with video of a Virginia Library's foster bunny. Be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.